All of the dynamic aspects of the form are driven from the field metadata, which is based on the field base class shown here. It defines the various bits of information about any given field to be displayed on the form, covering everything from the label to a default value to functions for custom validation, showing a field hint, responding to focus and blur events, and more. Depending on your requirements, you may need to add some elements to your field definitions or change or delete some of this, and that's fine. This is just one way of tackling the core problem. Feel free to expand upon it. I think it shows a good sampling of what's possible. Let's go take a look at how we put this metadata to use. Looking at how our field metadata is set up, we start with our abstract base class, and it just defines the core pieces of information about every field that we're going to be adding into our form. It also has some functions for enforcing some unique validation and responding to focus and blur events, as well as showing some information about the field in the form of a hint. You can see in the constructor we take in an internal name and a display name. The internal name makes use of an internal name class, which all it does is make sure that the internal name does not have any spaces in it. And we do that because the internal name is used as the control ID in the HTML. So we just want to make sure that it's valid. We also have a base class that extends that field base for anything that contains multiple choices like dropdowns or checkboxes. We have an enumeration that we'll use when we're rendering into the UI for the different types of field controls that we support. And then we have multiple classes for different types of fields. And for now, all they do is set their display as. So a dropdown, multiple lines of text in a note field, multiple choices in a checkbox, a number field, and a single line of text. So that's what defines the metadata for our different fields. Actually, setting it up, we do inside our parent component, in this case our widget. You can see we just create instances of different types of fields, set some properties on them, and then push them into a fields collection. So we set up a text field, a note field, a radio button, a checkbox, a number field, and a dropdown. And as I said, each gets pushed onto a fields collection, and that's what we'll work with when we're rendering the fields into the UI.